Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show. The show is about conversations that matter, and we invite people from all walks of life to come and share their heart stories. And we are so excited to have yet another stellar guest on the show. Bobby Umar is one of the most prolific heart-based leaders in North America. He's been featured in magazines, North American Inc. magazine, top 100 leadership speakers. He's been part of that alongside noteworthy giants like Richard Branson, Brené Brown, John Maxwell, and Robin Sharma. Bobby is a 5-time TEDx speaker and one of the top influencers in the world with over 500,000 followers. And he's been named the second best business coach to follow on Twitter and the 4th best leadership influencer, according to Cred. So Bobby is an international author of 2 books, including an Amazon #1 bestseller, and is a Huffington Post contributor. And he's hosted a weekly tweet chat called The Power of Connection that reached over 65 million impressions weekly. And to date, his social media influence has garnered over 1 billion impressions. And Bobby was also named 2015 Speaker to Watch and one of the top 7 networking gurus to follow, and we are so honored to have him on the Nikki Clarke Radio Show. Bobby, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and, congratulations to you and your incredible success. So, Bobby, tell us, you have a story. How did this journey happen? Tell us about your background leading up to becoming the amazing president and leadership of Catalyst Railin and all the wonderful things that you do in the world.
Sure. So I think the best way to describe it is that I was a lost leader. And during my career, I started as an engineer. And while I was there, I was bored. So I started a musical theater company and grew that to about 150 people over 4 years. And then I did my MBA and went into brand marketing. And I found that each of those things were great in some ways, but I either felt stuck in my job or lost in a role or unfulfilled in my career. And so I finally decided to leave the whole thing. And part of it actually came from having health problems. I became diabetic, and I went to my corporate employer and said, okay, take some time off. And I explained what was going on, and they basically, within 3 weeks, gave me a package that said, see you later, don't want to deal with you. And it was like jarring because I was like, wow, okay, so what do I want to do now? And so what I did was I spent about 4 to 6 months trying to really dive into my personal brand to figure out what do I value, what are the traits and passions and interests that I have. And I came up with, the thing that aligns with what I'm doing is professional speaking. And so I launched my speaking career back then, and it's been 14 years of fulfillment and joy and passion and purpose, and I haven't looked back. And I think it's been great to be able to do that. And in particular, one of the things I know is that one of the best parts about it is when you get those special one-on-one kind of conversation where they say, wow, Bob, you've changed my life. There was one where a woman came up to me, and she was like, and she heard me speak, and then she came up, and she looked really awkward and didn't know what to say. And I said, it's okay. It's a safe space. I'm here. What can I help you with? And she said she just feels so lost, and she thought my speech was so helpful and empowering to her. And then she just shared that she was in a halfway house with her son because her partner had been abusive, and she didn't know what to do.
Goodness.
And next thing you know, she broke down crying and then embraced me, and we just hugged for like 3 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I made it my purpose to just help her individually. So I started taking her to networking events and giving her opportunities, and now she's thriving, which is great. But it's that type of work, that quiet person comes up and says, your work has really changed me or moved me. I love that. And for me, that's why it's so empowering for doing what I do.
Absolutely. Well, that's an incredible story. I mean, she left a really adverse situation, and you were able to mentor her into something beautiful.
Absolutely. And one thing I can add, too, is that in terms of my story, that the other thing that helped when I started to take off was social media. So when I first went on social media, I didn't really know how to use it, but then I saw that there was an opportunity, so I decided to invest all my time into it. And within about 6 months, I had about 5,000 Twitter followers, and that's where things started to really take off because I got my first speaking gig off of Twitter because they loved my content. And I was like, what, social media, this is here to stay. So I started investing in it, and Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and things really took off. And then pretty soon, that's when I got the TED Talks, and that's when I got my agent, and then that's when I started traveling all the world. And really building an influence as a thought leader via social media has been a really huge impact for my work and my career.
Absolutely. And you've reached so many people. Bobby, collectively, how many people do you think you've reached up to date?
It's a good question. I mean, if you look at social media impressions, it's, way, way higher than what it is. But I estimate somewhere between 300,000 to 500,000 people around the world have, I've been able to reach with my content or, them replying back or things like that.
Amazing. Now, you have a channel called The Power of Connection. Can you tell me the premise of the show and who basically tunes in?
Yeah, the general idea of Power of Connection is, I'm all about people and I'm about authentic connection. So, helping people create better connections with their colleagues, with their bosses, with their employees, with their social media followers, with their clients, with their partners, even with their family members. I'm always trying to help people with that. So we focus on topics around people connection. So from a professional standpoint, I'll cover topics like culture, employee engagement, working with teams, working with managers. That's one thing I'll do. When it comes to personal ones, I'll talk about actually dealing with partners and kids and your parents and your friends and dealing with cyberbullies on social media and things like that. The audience is pretty broad because the stuff I talk about is pretty universal in terms of, creating authentic connection and being better with communication. But I typically like to focus on usually most of my audiences are women, I would say, and they're usually a bit more senior. So we're talking between 35 to 65 years of age.
Excellent. So it's all about engaging people in genuine encounters, very similar to what, I've been trying to do, transforming lives one story at a time with the show. So it's definitely in alignment with, my purpose. But, Bobby, has there been a turnaround time for you in your life, something that's really been like a pivotal moment that you'd like to share, a pivotal moment of transformation, whether it be personal or professional, that you could talk about?
Well, gosh, there's a few, but I'll give you one short one and then one kind of longer one, which is the short one is really when I mentioned that I was dealing with diabetes and I left the corporate world. 2 months later, my wife almost died of E. coli. And the two of us, she was in ICU for a week and then hospital for a week, and then I was taking care of her for 2 months, and we're like, and so the two of us are now not working, and we're like, what is important to us? And so that's when, I really figured out, okay, what is it do I really, really want to do? That was one really big one. But then the other one actually, again, relates to my health thing, which is I realized around 2013 that my health was not getting any better. I wasn't investing time in energy in it because I was a busy entrepreneur. And so I thought, you know what? A better me is a better everything else. I need to invest in myself for my health, for my work, for my children, for my wife, for everything. And, it's been a 6-year journey. I call it #FitMyLife because not only am I trying to get fit in my life, but I'm trying to make everything I do fit in my life. And so it's a double entendre hashtag. And that's been the challenge and struggle. And but it's been great because it's a reminder of how important our health is, both mental health and physical health, in terms of being the best we can be. So for me, I think that's been transformative for me. It's taught me to be more mindful. It's taught me to be more in tune with my body and listen to what's going on. It's taught me to be more health aware around the things around me and the influences. And I think it's making me a better leader as well.
Absolutely. Well, you're definitely changing lives. And how has it been for you in terms of like pursuing this passion work? How has it changed the way you look at the world and maybe how maybe your family looks at you?
That's a good question. One of the things with connection that I always like to talk about is the fact that there's an integration between what's live connection with people as well as the digital thing. And so I've seen social media, I've been through all the tech, and I've seen how things have transformed. And it's interesting because there are people who struggle with live connection, but they're often pretty good at social media. But when you meet them in person, they're very awkward. Other people are really good with the live connection, but then social media, they're very awkward. And now, children as well as grown-ups are now struggling with the integration of the two things. Because now what happens is they're mobile workers or they're knowledge workers, and they work from home and they telecommute 3 days a week. They have 2 screens and 3 smartphones, and the integration of all this stuff in every single platform, like Slack and Asana and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and there's just so much And I think that, my latest take that I'm looking at on the future of connection is the struggle with all three of these things, the live connection, the online connection, and the integration of technology with all those things. And so I think people are struggling with that. And, I'm very passionate about helping people figure this out because, not everyone has to go to networking events. Not everyone has to be on Twitter. Not everyone has to have 3 machines. So the question is, how do we find the best way that works for you and the path that you're trying to take? So for me, my passion is really about helping people not feel so stuck and unfulfilled in their lives and finding more clarity and purpose in their lives to then really transform what they're doing. Because, again, it goes back to that thing I said about myself, which is a better me is a better everything else. So same for everybody else. The better them is the better everything else, and if I can help them get there, I will.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that because there seems to be always new ways of people being able to connect online. However, they're still feeling disconnected. I've been in situations where people say they know so much about me through what they've read in Facebook, and it's like it's kind of awkward. Like you would know that, but yet you're still hesitant to meet me in person. You know what I mean? So it's a really, it's so many times that's happened. So it's a really amazing thing that you'd be able to, venture into that and to discuss what that's all about. So, Bobby, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're very busy, but how can people reach out to you on social media?
Well, I am everywhere on social media, but I think the general way is that, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook, my handle is Rayhan Bobby, which is my first 2 names. And then on LinkedIn, you can definitely find me too. I have a company page and I have my profile page, and people can follow me there and always reach out to me anytime they want. And last one, my website, of course, is I have 2. One is rayallen.com, which is my speaking company, and the other one is dypb.ca, which is my personal branding company.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bobby. Umar, thank you so much for your time. You're listening to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show, and we've been featuring Bobby Umar, an incredible guest with wonderful offerings for the community. So please check him out on social media. And, Bobby, thank you again, and congratulations on all your success.
My pleasure, Nikki. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye for now.